Welcome to the Grow Your Law Firm podcast, brought to you by Pilma. This podcast helps lead lawyers to more growth, profit, and freedom. Here is your legal marketing expert and host, Ken Hardison.
Well, hello, everyone. This is Ken Hardison, and welcome to another episode of Grow Your Law Firm. And it being Valentine's Day, I decided to do something a little different. I'm going to be interviewed by somebody very special in my life, my wife, Tiana Hardison. Welcome, honey.
Well, thank you, Ken. It's a pleasure to be here.
So a little bit about Tiana. She is a lawyer for over 30 years. She went to Wake Forest University School of Law, graduated with honors as a law review, moot court, and she practiced for over 30 years, and now she is editor of Pilma, our Powerful Innovative Legal Marketing Management Association's magazine, the Insider Journal, and she's also been a published author in ABA Journal, and also the Lawyers Weekly, and just bunches and bunches of articles in our magazine. So she knows a little bit about marketing and management, and a lot about law. So thanks you for taking time and join me on this Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day, by the way.
Well, happy Valentine's Day to you too. And thank you. I'm a big fan of yours, obviously. And you're very humble. So it's a good opportunity for me to get to pick your brain. So I hope our listeners and viewers will enjoy the opportunity to get a little more information, a little background on you. Okay,
good deal. So I'm going to turn it over to you and let's get started. We're going to talk about implementation today.
All right. Well, first question. You built two successful law firms yourself, obviously, and then you've helped so many lawyers all across the country build law firms. In your opinion, what do you think the key factors are that separate the highly successful law firms and those that struggle and are more in an average level?
Yeah, the two big keys is discipline and focus. And what I mean by that is they don't get distracted. They stay focused, and their discipline is that they get stuff done. They don't let things get in the way. There's no excuses. It just gets done.
Well, at this time of year, I think a lot of us are trying to make our to-do list and are setting our yearly goals or quarterly goals. And many times I think for many lawyers, I mean, we're busy trying to practice law, we're trying to grow a law firm, and it's hard to implement things the way that we want to. So when it comes to setting goals, realistically, how do you approach the concept of setting goals?
Yeah, well, you got to do it strategically. And so what I'm saying is you need to sit back and think about what you want your law firm to look like 5 years from now. And it's not just about the money or how many cases. You can do that too. But what do you want to be known for? What do you want your legacy to be? What do you want to be on your tombstone, when you die? What do you want people to remember you and your law firm for? And then figure out what things it's going to take to get there. Like with my law firm, I was really big about client service. It wasn't about getting the biggest verdicts. I really wanted to have a law firm where people they felt like that they had a friend and an advocate and they want somebody there just to take their money. And so everything I did, I tried to build that. And so we set up goals to accomplish that. But then the big deal is, you got to set out your big goals, and then we can talk about the BHAG, that's like the really aspirational type of deal, and that's like from 10 years from now. But really what you need to be thinking about is the 5-year goals, 3-year goals, 1-year goals, and then quarterly goals, and then gets down to weekly goals and your daily goals. So what you want to, that's how I think about it, is you got to figure out what your the big picture is, and then go down and then break it down into the smaller things to where you can attack it and get it done. And that's like I say, from 5, 3, 1, quarterly, monthly, daily, weekly, daily. And so that's the way you got to look at it. And it takes focus and discipline to do that, right? And that's why a lot of lawyers don't do it, or any kind of people don't do it. It's not just lawyers, it's any business people.
Well, you've talked a lot about quarterly goals. I think they're very important to you. Can you explain to us why quarterly goals are so important for effective implementation?
Yeah, it's when you try to set, most law firms and most businesses set annual goals or annual targets. And what I see is that when you do that, there's really no real accountability to about the last quarter. And then people, because you just think people are going to get it done and they don't. And they wait till the last minute. Not everybody, but 75, 85% do. And what, there's a book called, I think it's called The 12-Week Year. Yeah. But they talk about periodization. Athletes train on certain muscles or certain, they don't try to just become the greatest athlete in the world overnight. You might have a guy that's trying to learn how to catch a ball or something one-handed. He might work on that for a quarter, or certain muscle types. He might want to be building his upper body strength. So they really hone in on that and just work for 12 weeks on that. And what they found was when they did that, instead of trying to work on 10 things at one time, or is that they really got a lot better. They got a lot more done, and it was a lot more effective. And so you take that over to the business world, and instead of trying to do everything, you figure out what your top 3 to 5 goals are each quarter. And what we've seen at Pilma, and you know this, we started this about 3 years ago. I saw we get 3 or 4 times more done each year by doing this because it keeps people focused and disciplined. It really does.
So when it's the short term, right in front of your face, easier to achieve than the long range that seems so far away.
Right, and it keeps people focused. I mean, they don't say, "Well, I'll get to it because I got all year to get it done." You got the way we do it, and the way you need to set it up is you got stuff to do every week, and we'll talk about that. But yeah.
So tell me, well, just as a question too, I mean, so many lawyers, we're so busy working in our law firms, hard to work on it. So how do you even get the time to have this mindset and create these goals?
Yeah. So here's the deal. Everybody in the world, every lawyer, every person has the same amount of minutes, same amount of hours in every day, and have the same amount of days in every week, and the same amount of weeks in every month, and the same amount of months in every year, the same amount of years in every decade. And so the question is, people do what they really want to do. What I'm saying is, if it's really, really important to you, if you want it bad enough, you'll do it. That's just the way life is. You make time for things that you really, really, really want. So the question I ask each of y'all out there, listeners or viewers, is, do you really want this? And if you do, then you've got to just set an appointment with yourself. I try to tell people that join Pilma in my first session with them, I usually do a session with them the first 30 days, coaching session, is that you got to, if you really want this, you got to set aside 2 hours a week. And if that means if you can't do it at the office, then do it at home. And really you need 8 hours a week, but I try to start people out with 2 hours, and then we work up to 8 hours. But you really need to be working 8 hours a week on your business. And that means stuff like setting goals and making sure the goals are being done, and doing leadership. Because you, as the owner of your law firm, your 2 big jobs is to be a coach to your team members and your management staff and help them grow, and then make sure, keep a pulse on how your clients are doing and how your employees, if they're happy, and then be thinking about your vision. What is the big plan? What is the big goals? What am I trying to accomplish? I mean, what is my why? Why am I doing this? What is my end game? What am I trying to do 5 years from now? So, if you want it bad enough, then you just set the time and do it, and don't let nothing get in the way, because that's what successful lawyers do. I promise you. And to do that, sometimes you got to have somebody to hold you accountable. Well, actually, you need somebody. Everybody needs somebody to hold them accountable. I don't care who you are.
Well, speaking of that, how do you, in your quarterly meetings, for example, how do you make sure that you've set these great goals? I guess, well, you've taken your year's goals, you broke them into the quarters, and now you're designating who's going to do what to get it done. And how do you hold everybody accountable? How do you even get them motivated?
Yeah. So I don't have the time here today. In our strategic attorney coach program, I go into detail and actually map it out. But here's the, like a thumbnail sketch. You want to, the way we do it is you workshop so that everybody's involved, or your management people are involved in setting those quarterly goals. And then you get people to agree on what tasks are needed. to get these goals accomplished in the next 12 weeks. And then you assign them and people agree to them. And then you set deadlines and people agree to those. And so this is what you call management by agreement. And then once you do that, then you have weekly meetings that last, I call them scorecard meetings, where you put it in you can put it in a project, free project software. We use Basecamp. You can use, there's 20 of them out there, and you can get them for free. You can get the free version. But then people know they're going to be held accountable, and they got to say, okay, I've got my task done, because it's sort of like building a house. And I went through this one time. If the subcontractors don't show up on time, then the next one puts them behind and puts everybody behind. And a house that you're supposed to be built in 3 months can take a year if the people that don't get their stuff done. And that's the same way with your projects. Everybody's got to understand the urgency, and there is no excuses. And that's why they agree to the deadline. That's why you get them to agree to it. And of course, once in a while, there's going to be something beyond their control, outside sources. But if they've got control of it, then there is no excuses. I mean, that's just the way it is. And the deal is just the peer pressure of being at that meeting, weekly meeting. It lasts about 10 minutes, because people say, I don't have time for all the meetings. It's a 10-minute meeting. And people, and you've heard me say this many times, Tiana, people respect what you inspect. And so that's the deal. And the deal is, if you're the partner and you've got something you got to do, you've got to be set there and be held accountable. So it's everybody. I mean, just, and when you do that and you set these goals, and then you have some kind of celebration at the end of it, if you hit your goals, I mean, I think that brings everybody together, and you'll see everybody happier and more things done, really.
The weekly meeting, you said that's about 10 minutes. Do you have daily check-ins with teams?
Yeah, we go by the Rockefeller habits, the daily huddles, and you'll see this. Right there, mastering the Rockefeller habits. I'm a big. I'm actually a certified scaling up coach, which is right here. Yep, right there. Yeah. Scaling up book. And so the daily huddle, people say I hate meetings. I used to hate meetings too, but this is where you stand up, and it can just be your management people, or you could have your PI section over here, your workers' comp. It shouldn't last over 7-8 minutes each morning. And you say 3 things. What was my big win yesterday? What did I get accomplished yesterday? That could be one of your tasks towards the weekly, the quarterly goals. It could be that. And if I'm stuck on anything, and if you don't really get into what, you say, well, we'll take it outside the meeting. Somebody will say, I can help you on that. Or somebody will say, you need to go do this, or, to go call so-and-so. But the deal is, you don't waste a lot of time in that meeting. What you're doing is, what did I accomplish yesterday? What am I stuck, if anything? And then what is my priority today? And that keeps everybody focused on what, the priorities are. What did I get done yesterday? What am I trying to get done today? And I think it's a little bit of a peer pressure too, because if you've got the same priority 3 days in a row, people say, what have you been doing? They might not say it, but they're thinking it. And it's a little bit of peer pressure. But I think it's also very good, because at least the left hand knows what the right hand's doing, so I really like it. I mean, we've been doing it for like 3 years, and the communication, the lines of communication is so much better now. People know what's going on, there's not surprises.
Well, just for clarity, are you talking about firm-wide, or are you talking about department head meetings? I mean, from a practical standpoint, with a law firm owner, who are they gathering for their daily meetings?
Yeah. It can be different ways. I mean, if you've got a real large law firm, then I would break it down in departments. Like with Pillman, we only have 7-8 employees, so we do it all together. If you got a law firm with, less than 15, I think you can do it all together. If you get up to 20, 25, 30, then you might want to break it down to management people, or if you got different sections or whatever. I don't think you want you to meet yourself to death, but like I say, these things can last. I mean, you shouldn't even sit down for them. You should be standing up. Or now with the pandemic going on, we do them what we're doing now, Zoom, and it lasts. Each person should not take over 30 seconds, so you can figure that out. So if you got more than, 14, 15 people, then you got too many, because that keeps it at about 7-8 minutes, and you don't want it over 10 minutes tops. So that would be the key. So I think it just depends on the firm. how big it is, and how, you got a law firm with 100, 200 people, then yeah, you're gonna have to break it down to different categories or different subheads.
Yeah, because theoretically, if you're keeping them to 6 or 7 minutes a meeting, then you as the firm owner could be meeting with the department heads for 6 minutes.
Yeah.
And they in turn could meet with the folks in their department
Yeah.
at an event. And so the whole thing, you could have 3 meetings and you'd still only have 18 minutes
Right.
a day.
Yep. Yeah. And yeah. And most time people wouldn't have over 2. I mean, you'd have one with the management, then you'd have one who you manage, and that would be it, I would think. I guess you could technically have another one, but I think that would be probably the best way to do it.
What's the biggest distinguishment between a weekly meeting that you recommend versus the daily huddle? What's the biggest distinction there?
The weekly meeting, the scorecard meeting on the goals, is just specific on what goal, what tasks this quarter you got tasked to do to get our goals done, right? I want to know specifically just what task, are you 80% there? Have you done all your tasks? What tasks have you not got done that you promised you get done? And I want to hear the word 80 to 100% from everybody, so it's real specific on the task for getting those quarterly goals done. I don't care about anything else in that meeting. I just want to know that it's just to keep people accountable for the goals.
You've mentioned this word accountability quite a bit today. And so tell me this, who holds the law firm owner accountable?
Okay. Yeah. I mean, there's 2 or 3 different ways of doing it. I think I've always been real lucky. Well, I am lucky because I specifically said I've always hired somebody who was my manager or my administrator or my COO to be a very strong person that would not be afraid of me. I don't want yes people. And if you get yes people, you're never going to build a great firm. You've got to have people that'll call you out and tell you when you're screwing up or hold you accountable. I mean, even just like a paralegal, I want somebody to stay on my butt to call back the clients. I mean, don't be scared, because if it's part of our goals, if it's part of our mission, if it's part of our vision, then, our core values, then yeah, I want it done. And then also I've been very lucky in that I picked some really good coaches as mentors over the year. Like when I had Dan Kennedy, I've had Bill Glazier, I've had Jay Abraham, I've had some really smart people. And the deal is, people say, well, Ken, you don't really need that because you know this stuff as good as they do. Well, I probably do a lot of it now after 30 years of dealing with it. But the problem is, I don't care how smart you are. Sometimes you can't see the forest for the trees. It's easier for me to see something with somebody else's business than it is to see it with my own, even though I might know more than they know about business, but they might could see something that I don't see, because when you're inside of it, you just don't see it the same. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's just, you need a set of fresh eyes to look at it, on a regular basis. And you need somebody to call you out and get you to ask the right questions, because that's the key to everything. You can be the smartest guy in the room, but if you don't know the right question to ask, then you're not going to get the right answer, right? And so I've always been in masterminds or coaching or mentoring. I've been doing that for the last 20 years, and it's money well spent. I mean, I think I owe a lot of that to my success. It's people that could see what I couldn't see because I was inside of it. It's like I say, it's like can't see the forest for the trees.
Now, you've created a coaching program. And if I understand it, when you were building your law firms, there really wasn't a legal coaching program that you could grab hold of. You had to take
I had to go out.
material.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, like there's plenty of life coaches and business coaches and small business coaches, and but nothing was available for me. I mean, I had to go outside and deal with people that had nothing to do with law and to take it and apply it. And so what I've created, I call it Strategic Attorney Coach Program, and it's a group coaching program. And how it's different is I try to figure, we kind of tailor it in a way that we figure out, try to help you figure out what you really want. Because it's funny, most lawyers, they can tell you what they don't want, but they really can't tell you what they really want. What are they trying to do? What's their why? Why are they trying to build this? So we try to help them figure that out. And then we try to help them think strategically to create their own individual goals and their firm goals, and then get it implemented. And that's the big deal of what a coaching program does. Like with this one, I've started weekly accountability meetings, whereas they meet every Friday and just, have we done our homework? Have we done what we did? So we promised we were going to get this done. And when you're paying somebody, it's just like me working out. Okay. I tried working out, bought all this equipment, went to a gym, and I'm good for about 1 or 2 months. And then, life gets in the way, or I don't feel like it, and I don't do it. And then once you break that habit, man, it's hard to get back on the horse. But when I've hired a trainer for the last 5, 6 years, and I make it. I mean, I'm there every morning. I mean, I did it this morning. I mean, I'm up there at 7 o'clock, and we're doing it through Zoom. I've got all the equipment in my garage, and we're doing it. And he's sitting there, even though I got all the equipment there, I could do it by myself. But the deal is, I wouldn't do it. I know I wouldn't, because it's so easy not to do it, right? I mean, especially in the morning. Wow, I just sit in bed for another 30 minutes. But I'm paying him, and I'm not going to waste my money. And I don't want to, and I'm competitive, and I want to, beat his goals he's got set for me. And when you got that, when you're paying money for it, believe it or not, it makes you more serious about it. And that's just the bottom line. People say, well, I can't afford it. I say you can't afford not to do it. Just like, I think you will learn so many things. And I've created all these tools. Tiana, I created what I call a quarterly pocket planner, which is the stuff that you need to look at. You can stick it in your pocket, or if you're a lady, you can stick it in your pocket purse or whatever. It's about the size, but you fold it out, it's like 11 by 18. And it really keeps you focused on what's important every quarter. And I've got our quarterly goals. And then I've got a weekly planner that I produced, and a lot of other tools that keep people focused and disciplined, because that's what it's about. And doing the weekly meetings and the accountability meetings, and then we meet once a month and meet 4 times a year in person. And it's more like a workshop program. I do some teaching, and then you have forms and stuff you have to do, and right there on the spot. And then we usually have 1 or 2 homework assignments, like I'm doing one today when we get through this. And one of them is going to be, you should be leveraging your strengths. You shouldn't be trying to, take what you're really good at and leverage it, and then surround yourself with people whose strengths, help you overcome your weaknesses, and don't even deal with your weaknesses. Just go to what's your strength. I know what I'm terrible at. And so I've always hired people really smarter than I am in those things, and it's helped.
Well, what's the time commitment? It sounds kind of daunting. And for lawyers that are already so busy and struggling to find time to work on growing their law firm. So what's practically speaking, to get something out of the program, what time commitment are we talking about here?
Once every quarter, you're going to have to commit a whole day. After that, I think it's probably 2 to 3 hours a week, maybe 2 hours a week. You would think, it's just like me training. I train 45 minutes 3 times a week. You say, well, that's a lot. Well, not really. I mean, out of a 24-hour day, 45 minutes is nothing. And
What did you say? You eat an elephant one bite at a time.
That's right. So it depends on what. Yeah, you do. It depends on what you want. Depends on what you want in life. I mean, the deal is, people want it, but are they willing to do what it takes to get it? And the deal is, it don't have to be hard. I mean, it's not like I'm not training. When I just keep analogizing to my workout, I'm not training to be in the Olympics. I'm just training to be healthy, and get my endorphins running so that I can, it makes me a better thinker. I get more things done every day. But that's another whole subject.
Your coaching program that you've designed, how would it differ from a generic coaching program that's out there?
So I'm really got it keyed in on things that'll help you build a law firm, like like networking, how to network, how to get referrals, and it ain't all about marketing either. But how to pick 18 players, how to onboard 18 players, how to hire people, how to fire people. Um, um, we get into some other stuff like how to create your vision and your mission and things like that. But and that's about being some of the bigger ones. But I really get down like really to the deal. Like I do the 80-20 rule, but you should be looking at your top 20% of your cases generate 80% of the income. So why aren't you paying more attention to those? And so I give you a system of how to do that. How to make decisions. I've come up with this decision filter that I've created and tested. And so now when you're trying to make this decision, should I spend this money? Should I do this? I give you 5 questions and you rank them 1 to 5. And then if you've got a certain score, you definitely ought to do it. Another score between this and this, it's kind of up in there. But then if another score, definitely don't do it because it's just not going to work for you. It's too risky. Because that's another thing that paralyzes some law firms. You got guys that just can't make decisions, and women too. And the deal is you're never going to get to that 5-year goal if you don't make decisions. You've got to. People want it.
You also mentioned, even when you were first starting to talk about the strategic attorney coach program, you mentioned people have different kinds of goals. I'm just curious, what are some of the most common goals and that attorneys that come into the program have?
They want more cases, but that's one thing. But then they want more balance in their life, and you know what I'm saying. They want more profits. And they want more freedom. What I mean by that is they want, some of them want to own the world, but a lot of them, they really just want to make a good living, but they don't want to have to be working 60, 80 hours a week. They want to have time to spend with their spouse and their family, their children, their nieces, their nephews, and be able to do things, live a full life. And so we show you how to do that. I mean, and some of them just want to own the world, and we can show you how to do that too. I mean, but I think the 2 big deals is more, they want more profits and they want freedom. They don't have to work 80-hour weeks. And so that's why I tell you, work on your strengths and leverage your strengths and hire people to complement your weaknesses and know how to delegate. And that's very important too. I teach people how to delegate, how to hire people you can delegate to, how to motivate employees, the whole rabbit. So it's how to tweak things, how to increase your profits by, I call it the 7 levers of cash, and just little things you can tweak. And we go through that, and I show them how to do that. You can tweak a little bit here, a little bit here, and all of a sudden you've created a 20-30% increase in cash flow. And so we go through that. There's just a lot of things. It's a year-long program. And we meet once the pandemic's over every quarter and spend a day, and we and I teach and we workshop and back and forth, and then I have monthly meetings, and then we have weekly meetings, weekly accountability meetings, and then I have a monthly meeting just to make sure that they're on, got any questions on anything we covered or on their homework or things like that. I mean, I like it. I mean, the people that have done it have loved it. It gives them a lot more clarity about what they want and what it takes to get it. And that's got a lot to do with it. They just don't have the clarity to know what they want or how to get there. And so I kind of give it to them, they still have to do the work. I mean, I can lead a horse to water, but I can't make them drink it right. So it still takes work on their part.
Is this just a rotating in program? You can opt in at any point, or how do you structure that?
No, I only have it where you come in twice a year, and the next time is in March. And so it's every 6 months. So March we'll start a new group. And I try to keep the groups under 16 to make it more intimate and where I can give them more, more attention, and so it's not a big deal. I want it to be very effective. And to do that, you needs to be small and intimate.
So what does someone do if they want to find out more about this coaching program you've got?
They can go to they can just call us at 1-800-497-1890 and talk to Darlene, or they can go info at pilma.org and just say, strategic attorney coach info, or, just call and ask Darlene, and she can set up a call with me, and I'll be glad to sit down and talk with you and say if it's a good fit. I've had some people that told them it's not a good fit, that they needed either a one-on-one coach, or they needed to go to one of our masterminds, or they didn't need anything. The deal is, how I feel about this. I do not want to take somebody's money if I don't think I can help them. Because my reputation, it took 30 years to build it, it takes 30 seconds to lose it. So I try to do what's right. I really do. And everything else we do is some money back guarantee. If they try it the first meeting, they don't like it, I give them their money back. I mean, what's the deal? I mean, I don't need the hassle. I really don't. Not at this stage of my life.
No, I mean, right now we're still in this pandemic. I mean, we're watching the vaccines and hoping we can get them and whatnot. But so right now, is Strategic Attorney Coach a virtual program, and when would it go live in terms of physical, and where would you normally meet if it wasn't a pandemic?
Yeah, it'll probably be virtual the next 2 quarters. And I think let's see what Dr. Fauci says. I mean, I'm following the rules. I mean, I'm very serious about this pandemic. I mean, I'm not taking any chances that I don't want anybody else. I don't be responsible for anybody else getting sick.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know. And so, we'll have to see. I mean, I'm hoping and praying, maybe by the second meeting this year, but it's probably the third one, to be honest with you. But we do the Zoom meetings. It seems to work really good. I mean, everybody gets because it's small and intimate, it's not that big a deal.
And otherwise, you would be meeting in Myrtle Beach?
In Myrtle Beach, yes. Yes, on an oceanfront hotel. So you can bring your family, and once this pandemic's over, and write it off as a vacation. And we're going to probably be doing it, hopefully, at the Marriott, which is the nicest hotel down here on the oceanfront. It's got like 3 pools and a lot of stuff to do, a lot of restaurants and a lot of things nearby that the kids can go do. It's a tourist place. That's what it is. So until next time, this is Ken Hardison, dedicated to your success.
You have been listening to the Grow Your Law Firm podcast, the podcast that leads lawyers to more growth, profit, and freedom. Go to growyourlawfirm.com to find more ways to market and manage your law firm. Please leave us a rating and review wherever you listen to your podcasts.